the calm before the storm.
And the storm is coming.
Oh, yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
We're about to see the very leading edge, guys, about the next hour. Not the main event. That's getting here later tonight. But we can already see the first showers showing up on First Alert Doppler. So the first thing we'll do is take a look at that, and then I want to give you a little bit of big picture context on how the storm is put together and what the primary concerns are going to be for tomorrow's First Alert day. First of all, that's what it looks like right now on First Alert Doppler. But if we go to the wide picture and take in the storm as a whole, there's our comma shape with the cold front. But look at this long tail of clouds. If we get rid of the clouds and we just look at the water vapor in the atmosphere, you see something that looks weird, but also very telling. That's how you spot the atmospheric river. We're just looking at water vapor concentrations in the atmosphere, and the higher the color, the higher the concentrations. This is like a fire hose stretching all the way across the mid-latitudes of the Pacific and pointed at us. And since this will be kind of driven in primarily by this atmospheric river, it's good just to have a little bit of context on these things to understand why this storm looks and feels a little different than like a typical storm that comes through. We rate these things on a scale from 1 to 5 now, and this one's a 4. So we need rain, it's a drought. That's where we get the can be beneficial part, but it's the mostly hazardous part I want to talk about. 2 items that fall in that category. First off, because of this, there's a flood watch that starts tomorrow at 1 a.m., goes till 6. And the primary focus for this is Santa Cruz Mountains and North Bay, not just mountains, but North Bay valleys. This is the kind of rain we're going to get about 1.5 inches to 2 inches between midnight and 8 a.m. tomorrow. That can cause some minor localized flooding on roadways, like low-lying intersections, but it can also cause some of the tributary streams and creeks up here to overflow their banks. That becomes a concern. And on top of that, the other issue that's somewhat hazardous is the wind. So the National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory that goes from 10 o'clock tonight to 6 a.m. It's the same areas where the flood risk is, because we're going to saturate the ground. We're going to have 40 to 50 mile an hour winds come through between about 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. tomorrow. That can topple trees or take a tree branch or any other debris and throw it onto a roadway. So that's the other item. Those are our 2 hazardous aspects of this. Let's take a look at the storm, because I mentioned we're starting to see some of the leading edge of the showers come on. There's not going to be a lot to this, but over the next 1.5 hours to 2 hours, we're going to kind of get the little preview. You might get some light rain, then it's going to stop, and then it's going to pick up again later tonight. And that's the main event right here. So we're going to put that into that longer-range forecast and watch that batch of rain work its way across the entire bay. Remember, we're bracketing the 11 o'clock through 8 a.m. window. That's when this storm really does its work. And that's when we're going to pick up like 95% of this 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Doesn't mean it won't still rain after 8 a.m. We might still have some stragglers left over for the later part of the morning commute tomorrow. But by the afternoon, you're going to see blue sky tomorrow. So tomorrow is a First Alert day. But the tricky thing about that is it's like from midnight to 8 a.m. That's when all of the issues take place. But we'll have leftovers. So even if it's not pouring at 10 a.m. when you get on the road, there could still be some localized flooding, and there could still be some debris on the roads. So all things, that's why this is a First Alert day, for all that stuff. 1.5 inches to 2 inches possible in that window. If you want to see when the winds pick up, watch the colors. That gets us into like the 2 o'clock to 5 a.m. window tomorrow. That also happens to be right as the cold front's coming in. These atmospheric rivers are funneled by conveyor belts of wind. So between 2 and 5 tomorrow, we're going to feel that conveyor belt as this thing comes on shore, and that's why it's got to get so windy. That is another important aspect of storms that are composed of atmospheric rivers like this. You can get the winds. We didn't necessarily with the last one. This one, at a Category 4, is bringing them. All right, so there's the First Alert day. There's a chance of rain beginning again on Thursday, but it's really Saturday. That's the main event. There's another storm coming in on New Year's Eve day. Too early to get specific on it, but it does look more than just light rain. And it might have to become another First Alert day, but we're going to give that another 24 hours or so to get some more clarity on it.